Come along to episode 2 of the Giant Rugby League Show. Coming up in this show, we'll be covering predictions, contracts, and season preview. Before we get started, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. Nathan's alongside me as always. Welcome back.
Cheers. Thanks for the introduction there. As you can see, we've got the studio back up in one piece, so that's a good result. We're really blown away with the feedback that we've had from the podcast so far. It's been great to see some Giants fans leaving comments, and we'd love any feedback, positive or negative. Just leave it alongside of me and Jordan. I'll have a take a look at that. But yeah, let's get cracked on.
Perfect. Okay, so first things first, let's review the latest news from the Giants. Obviously, last week, Matt English's testimonial match, 22-4.
Yeah, good win. Obviously, it's only a friendly, so you can't take a great deal out of it. One of the key things for me that I noticed, it's good to see Tuilalahera and Clune playing together. Yeah. Good in the combinations. Told you that everyone would get over for a try by cutting over the defence. That's the knowledge squeaking in again there.
Yeah, we'll see if he's starting. Obviously, Connor Carr, Billington, Marshall, and good to see them getting more minutes as well.
Yeah, youngsters need it. Obviously, it's a good time of year for them to get the run out, get some game time in them. Obviously, playing against Super League opposition, it can only make their game better going into the season. So, really happy with that.
Yeah, we'll say shout out to Matt English. 47 appearances now for the Giants, 9 tries, and he's only 28 still, so he's still got plenty of time left in him, yeah.
Yeah, especially for a forward. One thing I will say, though, is had some knocks in every time. Yeah. Never takes a backward step, so to get through that much work for the Giants has been a great testament to him, and congratulations to him, obviously, the testimonial.
Yeah, congratulations if you are listening, I'm sure you are. Do you think this game actually tells anything about the Giants moving forward? Obviously, with it being only first friendly.
I don't think you can read too much into it. That being said, we put a very, very strong squad out, and obviously we changed it up at half time, so there were a lot of changes in the second half. Yeah. I think obviously first half we looked really, really good. So I mean, it gives me the positivity going into the season. But like I say, it's a friendly. York have got new players there putting combinations together. So whether you can really boost anything on it, probably not. But it was good to see.
Good starting it. Yeah, and last season's pre-season where. I mean, first friendly, you're looking at, like, what are all these numbers? Why is he, what's it, like 32, 34 playing? You want in your 1s, 2s, your 3s, your 4s, your 5s on the pitch side?
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, we mentioned that last year. The squad looks better, the depth, the injuries looks good. So long may that continue going forward for us.
Yeah, and obviously, Jagger and Flanagan both signed new contracts. Obviously, Jagger a 2-year deal, and Flanagan's going to be staying till the end of 2029.
Yeah, good bit of business. Obviously, we've been guilty in the past of losing our best talent before it's come through. Prime example, obviously, Dom Young going to the NRL, never really looking at getting into the first team for us. Both players that you've mentioned there played Super League for us last year. Jagger scored, obviously, on his debut. We all know the season that Flanagan has, so tying them players down can only be a good thing in the future of the Huddersfield Giants and what we're looking to build.
100%, yeah, and obviously, kind of the long-term plan, you can definitely see, like, it's definitely changing around Huddersfield Giants. Obviously, you've got Lawndale training ground now, obviously another building's getting built up there, the facilities are looking a lot better, so I think for younger players that we're trying to attract to come to Huddersfield, and ones that we've already got on those books to stay, obviously it's becoming a lot more of an attractive proposition for people to stay now.
Yeah, listening to the Matt and Meg podcast, obviously listening to George Flanagan in there with some of the key points that he put across, and that's great because there'll have been clubs, looking around for him, seeing potentially could he be a fit for us, could they lure him away. So the fact that we've tied him down to a long-term contract, like you say, good news, and obviously good for the Giants to have someone like that for.
Yeah, and I think you've got to give a bit of a shout out to Ken as well. He's just not a man that stands still, is he, around Huddersfield? I think he's just constantly wanting the club to progress. And obviously, I think a couple of things that's going on at the moment, I think it is showing a sign that Huddersfield are going in the right direction.
Yeah, mate, 100%. Can't agree with you anymore. I mean, the positivity that's around the place, and not by fans that aren't around the club. What I'm saying by that is opposition fans, no, they don't have the same positivity we've got. But Ken's obviously changed a lot throughout the summer, taking players out for meals, having that quality time, get to know the player, really building the club. And we're lucky that we've got someone who's so passionate about the club, who puts so much into it. It's about the club so much. So yeah, massive shout out to have such a good chairman as Ken on board with us. So.
Okay, so kind of the main part of this show, we'll review our 1 to 14, the Super League table, about how we think it's going to finish. I'm sure it'll be nothing like it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to start your team off.
I'll run through mine, but what I'll just go through with first is this was so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I have been racking my brains trying to think of this. And some people in the comments may absolutely bully me, say I don't know what I'm talking about. It could be coming, and I'm not bothered. We'll take the comments. But I've just gone with what obviously I think, and it is tough, especially when you've not seen any teams play. There's a lot of clubs with a lot of new players, new coaches, except I'll fire away with mine. What I'll do is I'll go from 14 and we'll build it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure everybody will be interested to hear you.
Yeah, so 14, let's just kick it off. Toulouse, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but the recruitment, I think we touched on it last week. We mentioned they've only really, or it might have been on a phone call we had during the week, but they've only really brought in Tyler Dupree. For me, they've made the least additions and added the least strength to their team, so I think that'll show when it comes to the end of the season. Whether they have a bad start and then they're reactive in the transfer market and bring people in, I'm not sure, but for me, I think they're going to be bottom of the pack. Closely followed by Bradford. I think they've brought in some players, but they're not world beaters for me.
Definitely.
They've got a lot of players as well there that were Super League players, weren't good enough to be in Super League, went to the Championship, had a good season in the Championship. Let's see what they're like when they come back up to Super League standard. Let's see if they can light it up like they did in the Championship. I think they're gonna that gap they're gonna bridge is going to be hard. So obviously when you're coming out against your Hull KRs, your Wigans, Leeds, as your stronger teams, different game, different strength. So I have them at 13 with York just above them. I think with some of the players they've brought in, slightly better, and I just think that they'll finish just above them.
Yeah. Okay, I like the way they're going by. I think they're a club that's obviously wanting to stick around in Super League, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think it's great for rugby league as well, because everyone always goes on about this notorious M62 corridor, not just that little bit further out. It's a new stadium for a lot of people to go to that they won't visit before.
Really nice stadium.
Really nice stadium. So, I mean, if I can make it to York away, it's 100% one that's on my list this year, and I'll be going across to that game. I've gone with Cass at 11. Now, everyone's raving about Cass because they've made so many signings and they've got a new head coach. But for me, where's it all going to fit together? The coach isn't experienced in the Super League. I think it could take him a little bit of time to adjust. Not saying he won't be successful at all, but I feel like it could just take that bit of time to adjust. Obviously, getting all the players working together as well.
It takes time.
It does take time. They've got to build the relationship and the bonds, and that's not guaranteed to happen in season one. I mean, you look at our club over the last 3 or 4 years, on paper, we've been good. We've gone out. You've got your Burgesses. We've had star players there ready to go, and it just hasn't worked.
Yeah.
We've had people come over from the NRL, being injured, not been able to make an impact. Murphy, prime example of that. So I just think Cass may not be.
Very rare where you have a huge turnover in your squad and all of a sudden everybody just hits it.
Yeah, exactly. For me, that's why they've got number 11. This kind of goes against what we were saying last week, and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because we're higher up. But when I look at the teams on paper, and it's hard because we haven't seen all the teams play. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if people have car crashes. Some people might change about. But for me, I've put us in at number 10.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be a good season for us. I think it'd be. I wouldn't be happy if we finished there, if I'm being honest. But that's just when I'm trying to fit it in on paper. That's where I've got us at.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when we come into the season, we're beating some of these bigger teams and we're getting up to more towards the playoffs. But for us, we definitely, like you mentioned last week, the home form's got to improve. We've got to be winning some games down at the stadium and getting that crowd down, getting some atmosphere behind us.
Absolutely.
And I think if we can get a roll on that, we might not be far outside the playoffs. But just going off what I think now, I've gone 10 for us. So again, another difficult one because they've got some quality players. I really like Kalepi Tanganoa, who's gone there. I think he's an absolute powerhouse. Don't know really what happened to him at Hull KR, but I'd be happy with him if he came to Giant. 100%. But Warrington at 9 for me. think Sam Burgess needs to have a better year than finishing at 9, because talk of
the NRL he needs to be.
Talk of NRL, talk of England with James Graham. You can't be doing that when they have the season they've had last year.
No.
He's got a point to prove for me this year in that league as a manager. They've played some fantastic games. They've been in games. They were in the Challenge Cup final with Hull KL. They can do it. It's just whether it works for them.
Yeah, and obviously it'll be interesting to see how they do with McNamara there as well.
Yeah, I think he'll have a lot. So could finish higher, but on my list of what we've gone for there at 9. There's people out already laughing anymore. They'll be laughing now. I've gone for Wakey at 8 because I just think they're going to. I know they've added some. I know they've added some players and they've added obviously an NRL Grand Final winner. But for me, I just think they're going to get found out. They think they're going to go to a next level. And for me, they don't. They just don't do it. And again, Wakey fans come at me, but and we'll see at the end of the season. I just don't see them making the playoffs. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And then let's just piss off someone else. Let's just go straight into the next one, and then we'll go straight at the Lee Leopards because there's a lot going on at that club in the off season. This player's leaving, that player's leaving. Interest here, interest there. Yeah. Contract situations all up in the air, and I think that's going to have an effect for them with their on the field performances.
Yeah, and obviously it looks like Trout. Obviously, Trout's got that contract on the table, and all of a sudden that's kind of hit a bit of a snag, really.
Yeah,
interest from the NRL, so you just don't know, do you?
No, they can't really afford to be losing any more stars because they got to such a perfect point with their squad, but now it's starting to fritter away, and you don't want to be having to try to pull that all back in and be recruiting multiple players. They lost Ethan O'Neill to Leeds. I think he's a really good player. I've loved him. Thought he was a great player, great addition for Leeds. So yeah, for me, the team with the worst kit in the league, they'll finish 7th. And then this is where people will be going, what? But I've gone Catalan number 6. Why Catalan number 6? For me, they've just brought in a new spine like that, and it looks dangerous.
Yeah,
you've got Toby Sexton, Canterbury Bulldogs, NRL star, unlucky to lose his place last year. When he was playing, they were top of the NRL. Yeah. They were going well, and they were top. He lost his position, became unwanted. The fact that he's already secured a contract to go back to the NRL next year, I think he's just going to come over here, nothing to lose, just prove his talent. He's obviously going to link up with Lewis Dodd in the halves. Lewis Dodd, people might say, well, didn't do anything when he went down under. No, but he's a winner with St Helens. Another player who's played at the highest level. He's won the trophies. He's got the rings to show it.
He's come over, signed a 1-year contract, gone into trading. All of a sudden, he's signed an extension. So he's not exactly messing around in trading if he's getting an extension on his contract for his bloody competitive gear. Yeah,
they've seen something they like there.
Yeah.
And, obviously, Cruz Leeming this week as well. And that's been confirmed with.
I think that's a really good signing. I think that's a really good signing for Catalan, especially now with obviously the rule change with the play of the balls. So that's going to be a lot quicker. So you've got Cruz at 9, and you've got your 2 halves that are going to get the ball a lot quicker in hand a lot sooner. I think that could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, they've sprinkled in some other talent as well. And like I say, with the NRL stars, I mean, unless you're going out and getting your Paul Vaughns, people like that, you never really know what you're going to get. Yeah. But I think I've just got a really, really good feeling about Catalan this year. They had a really bad year last year. Joel Tompkins had some time to assemble a squad, put the wrongs right in pre-season. I think they'll come in at 6 for me. And then number 5, Hull FC. Missed out last year, but I think they're going to be dangerous again. I'll go into this a bit further in the podcast, but some good transfer business.
Yeah.
So I have them coming in.
Stacked in the forwards.
Stacked in the forwards. You're not going to enjoy playing against them.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Saints for me at number 4. Now, don't know whether Saints could actually drop out of the playoffs.
They never wait on that. They could literally be anywhere.
Yeah, I think that. And I'm gone with 4 purely because of Paul Rowley. He's achieved things at Salford without having the squad depth and the players available to him that he has now. So whether he can work the magic there, I think he can, to be honest.
He's obviously a good coach, but how he had Salford playing, he's obviously a really good coach.
Yeah. And he deserved that opportunity, obviously, all the adversity he had last year. So I think that he could guide them. Obviously, they've got their own issues trying to get their starting lineup all in order, fit everybody in. But
in 5 halves.
Yeah, working what to do with that. And then obviously they've lost Morgan Knowles, but I think I've just got a good feeling. I think the Saints will come in at 4. Top 3 for me will struggle. Really big struggle. But you've got to put a name down on it. So I've gone with Wigan. And I think I was listening earlier in the week, someone mentioned about Wigan as well, and they'd be like the first time in 5 or 6 years that they would finish outside the top two if they did. And for me, when you look back at the grand final and when they played Hull KR this year, their pack wasn't as strong as what it's been, and that was last year before they had the losses.
Yeah.
Liam Byrne, Tyler Dupree, Harvey Hill went to Hull.
Yeah.
So I don't think their pack, obviously they haven't got Ollie Wilson, we know that.
I think if they'd have had Ollie Wilson, I think you're then looking at top two because I think he makes a big difference. But obviously not having him, they brought in Partington on 5-year deal.
Yeah.
Very crazy, to be honest.
What I've noticed as well, I'm just thinking a few players here. So they've got like Julian Asenba locked in. They've got Sam Walters locked in. They've got a lot of players on long-term contracts. And if you look at their squad this summer, there wasn't a great deal of movement. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Whether they think their squad's strong enough and they want to keep that. But if every year they're going to get more damage, they're going to get older. And whether they could be in a position in the next couple of years where they don't have the ability to go out and refresh the squad just because they've got people tied down and probably won't want to leave a contract. Don't know. Might be wrong, but I've put
Could
them
go one or two ways, that couldn't it? Could go one or two ways with long-term deals. Both players could tell you for the next 3 or 4 years and you win everything. Or you could be in next year thinking, right, how are we going to get rid of this player?
Yeah, how are we going to move people on? But yeah, number 2 for me, last year's champions, Hull KR. The reason for that is they've lost 2 big players this off season, and they are Jared Weir-Hargreaves and Mickey McAloru.
2
winners, experienced heads to have run the team, lead the standards, and I don't think the players that they've brought in, like, your Tom Morgan's obviously coming for Jared Weir-Hargreaves, playing back end of the last year at Cass. I don't think he's as good a player, to be honest. And he's not played on the big stages that they are.
Didn't like it up, did he? I mean, he came back, signed for Cass, and I think everyone was expecting him to be writing headlines every week, and you didn't really hear it.
No. Obviously, playing with a better team on the roll, maybe potentially could do a little bit more. But for me, I think Hull KR will be there or thereabouts. It's very consistent. Willie Peters hasn't played great rugby. He grinds you down in the first half, blow you away in the second half. Everyone knows.
Got a way of playing on there, and no one's found a way of playing around it.
No, but I think Leeds did well against them last year, and I think other teams will find that way, take the pressure on that Leeds did, because what Leeds did is they shipped the ball quickly, because Hull KR's defence comes up so quick, and Leeds were moving the ball. It didn't matter how quickly they were coming up, they were making space.
Yeah.
Obviously with Jake Connor, Brodie Croft, they looked really, really dangerous, and they did really well. So for me, Leeds into number 1, obviously. I think Leeds could go on and finish top. It's crazy, but they played so well last year in spells, and arguably they weren't great in the smaller games. For me, Brad Arthur irons that out of them. They're up for the big games. So I think potentially, even if they don't finish in the top 1 or 2, I think they could still go on and win it. They've got some phenomenal players, which I'll touch on a little bit later when we go into a different segment. But yeah, that's mine. So obviously, I'm interested to hear what you think and how different they are.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run through mine a bit quicker because, to be honest, you've kind of covered a lot of the points there with signings and stuff. Obviously, 14th, I've got Bradford. Surprise, surprise.
My favourite club.
I think, especially with the track going around and outside, I think it's going to be a hard place for them to build an atmosphere that you don't want to go into. So I've got them bottom.
I disagree with slightly, just in terms of the pitch and stuff, because I feel like it's not the greatest place to play. With it being your home ground, I think they might be able to take advantage of that. So I think where they win is probably more at home than they do on.
Yeah, I've still think it'd be in a tough place to go and play.
Not the atmosphere, more the conditions.
Yeah, it's like playing on a park, I think, by the looks of it. 13, I've got Toulouse. Yeah, not really much to add, obviously. I think their only main sign has been Dupree, which he was struggling to get into Wigan 17 by end of season. So, Yeah, I hope he does go there and perform this year because I feel like he deserves that chance. And I think probably then, with it being a loan deal, be able to go back to Wigan. And obviously, I think he's one that's tied down for a long-term contract as well.
I think he'll prove something next year. I think he'll
There'll be a lot of pressure on him, won't there?
Yeah, and
He's expected to stand up and do a job for them.
he had a rapid rise and he was phenomenal for them, and he was always a fixture. I think he might have taken his eye off the ball. He's paid the price in terms of he wasn't getting in the team. They had other options. Now, would they have let him go if they knew Wilson had
I think it's good as well that obviously from Dupree's point of view as well, he's gone, do you know what, Toulouse want me. I'll go there, I'll go to France. I won't really know anyone, can't really talk their language, but I'm going to go over there and see what I can do, which I think is good for him, to be fair.
Yeah, I do as well, because honestly, he's another player that will potentially want a spot in that World Cup squad next year. He's been in and around, he's played for England, he's got the quality. So for him, he can prove a point over there, and he might be able to again be one of them players who's going, come on, whoever the new head coach is, I'm here. Look at me, I'm dragging a team that are near the bottom, and I'm driving.
Yeah, and if you're playing massive minutes every week, then you've got a good chance of that. Just above that, I've got York. Like I said before, I like what they're doing, especially off the field. I like the ground, and I think they're a club that's pushing to stay in the Super League long term. Just above that, in 11th, I have got Cass. A bit like you, obviously I do like the signings, and I've made a lot of signings, but I just can't see them all clicking. When your squad's changing so much and you've got so many of these players coming over from NRL, I mean, when you're in and out of Cass every week, I just don't see it being a place where long term they're going to fancy it. So I've got them finishing just above. And I've got Warrington. I think there'll be a few clubs that'll finish above them. I just think last year they looked miles off it, especially towards the back end of the season. Obviously, they've not really recruited with loads. Obviously, they've got Tanganora, haven't they? But apart from that, I don't really see how they massively push up the table now. I do think there is a lot of pressure on Burgess, and I think obviously with McNamara in the background as well, I think he's probably got 7 or 8 rounds of rugby to get Warrington firing. And if they're not firing, I think then they'll be looking and going, why is he sat there in the background when we could be having him as his head coach? So I do think there is a lot of pressure on Burgess. I think it's one of them, he'll either sink or swim this year, especially at the start of the season. I think they'll either go really well, or I think they'll be poor. And I've just decided I think we're going to be a poor start. Just above them, I've got Wakefield. Obviously, Wakefield fans aren't going to be happy about that because they were fine last year. But I think last year they were going into every game. Well, they were going into a lot of games as the Dogs. And there were no real pressure on them to go out there and win every week. I think this year, especially from their home fans, they're going to be expecting some big wins this year, especially after last season. So I think there's a lot of pressure on that team. And yeah, I just think people will find a way playing against them this year. I don't think they'll surprise as many as there.
No, but it's very similar to what I went with.
Yeah. 8th, I've got us in 8th.
We can dream. We can dream. Come on, guys.
I think 8th is a good season. I think that's a real sign of progression. If we're touching those playoff spots, I've not put us to getting them, but you never know towards the end of the season. So I hope we're around there. But I've got us finishing 8th, just outside. But yeah. Not really much else to add on. Then you've covered everything. And then 7th, I've gone Catalan. Like you say, Sexton, Dodd, and Lehman. I think they're going to be a good one to watch. And yeah, I think they could do something in the Challenge Cup. To be honest, this year, I think if they get some nice draws at home, I think they'll be a good team to go watch.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I think run 100%.
Yeah, and I think Challenge Cups. It just screams something like Catalan to go on a bit of a run in that. I don't know why, but it just
don't work for RFL. Does it? Not for any fans.
Yeah, no, you can just see stadium now at final where it's final. 5th and 6th, I can't pick between them, to be honest. I've got Saints and Leeds in 5th and 6th.
So you're saying on fence?
I'm saying.
You need to put your name to it. You've got to pick one. So at the end of the season, we watch it back and we're going, Nathan's right.
I've got them 5th or 6th. It's literally a toss of a coin, which way they're two are going.
Points difference.
Yeah, maybe. The only reason, a few weeks ago, I thought Leeds were going to finish higher, but the more I've thought about it, and the more players seem to be getting linked with the NRL, you've got Connor now getting linked with Perth, you've got Brodie Croft the last couple of days, he's now been linked with a return to NRL. And then once you get halfway through season, it's going to be what's Bradford doing next season. So I just think they've got a lot of players kind of linked with the NRL. They've got a couple already going to the NRL. I just can't see them firing like they did last year.
Agree.
Because you've gone finishing top. And then obviously I've got Saints just alongside them as well. And I would have had them finishing a lot lower if it wasn't for the head coach. But I think he's just a top head coach, and he's going to have better players to coach with. So I don't see how they don't perform.
Yeah, although it brought a couple of Salford bodies in just to top it up, and so that'll be interesting to see how they get on. Because obviously the pressure of putting a St Helens jersey on over a Salford jersey is completely different. No disrespect to Salford, obviously, but St Helens are one of the the top clubs.
They expect to win. You're playing at home and expect to win week in, week out. In fourth, I've got Leigh. Interesting one, those. Especially, my main thing about Leigh is when they've got Armstrong and Hodgson. I just cannot work out how, because those two are phenomenal fullbacks, and I just do not see how they get both in the team.
Well, they won't get both in the team, but yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they go, because one of them's not going to be happy and one of them's going to be then looking for another club, I presume, by the end of the season. Especially if both of them stay fit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because Armstrong didn't play any games like that. So
that's true.
It might not be staying on pitch. Fingers crossed he does, because obviously another player who's come over raw speed, bit like Duff DJ Field.
Covers so much ground, mate.
It just looks good when he's there.
Hodgson would have been that towards the end of the year. I'm sure Hodgson, like towards the end of the season, he put on a few yards of pace as the season went along, because he were carrying the ball in, and he don't take a backward step when he's going in. Yeah. Third, my surprise package, to be fair there, I've got Hull FC. I just think Caesar and Price, I think when they've got time to play and when they've got space to run into, I just think they're a really good team. Obviously, the play of the balls is going to be a lot quicker this year from kind of how the rulings go in. And the forwards that they've got, I think when they're taking it into contact, they're taking 3-4 men into tackles most of the time. And then when you've got Price and you've got young lads out wide that are raw pace, I do think they are going to score a lot of points. Whether they can defend the line like that and kind of not concede as many, I'm not too sure. But I think if you play Hull FC, I think it'll be a good game to watch, because I think there'll be a lot of points scored.
Yeah, I agree with you. And they've got some absolutely barreling forwards, and like Herman SAS, they had a great year last year. Big thing for them keeping Asiata fit for me, because if they keep Asiata fit, then there's no reason why they can't be third, like you say, because when he's linking up and he comes out the back and he throws the pass or he takes it himself, I mean, you saw what he did at Leigh.
Because you literally don't know which one.
For me, he's literally the best 13 at competition.
Yeah.
I don't see a better 30.
No.
I like Keenan Polly-Sia when he plays there for Leeds, to be fair, but not the same level as Asiata, because he's class. Yeah. He's literally.
Yeah. And then top two, I've got same as last year. Wigan, I think they will run close. I think obviously this year, I think it will be a lot closer as the season goes along, because I think the players like Thompson, Semba, O'Neill, I think they've got big points to prove this year. Obviously last year they struggled with fitness and staying fit. And then obviously Thompson and Semba, the start of last season, they were getting picked in England team. Like, no, there were no problem. They were starting for England. By the time the season's finished, neither of them are even getting in the squad. So I think obviously World Cup year, I think those two have got big points to prove. So I think they'll be a bit of a force going forward.
Yeah, I just don't know if they've got a big enough pack around them. That's my one.
Which is probably why I'm not finishing second and not top.
Yeah.
As much as I'm not the biggest fan of Hull KR. You can't argue with how they play. I think the first month's massive for them. I think if they stay fit and they don't have injuries, when they've got the World Cup challenge, and obviously they've got a lot of games there. I think they've even got to play Warrington at some point midweek. I think their schedule's that crazy that there's not a lot of week where they can even play a game. So they've got to try and get 2 games in. But I think if they stay fit and strong, especially in the first month, if they come out of that well, I struggle to see anybody stopping them.
Yeah, just quickly on that, Tom Amon's injured at the moment. Broke his ankle. So the same for World Club Challenge, not for week 1 for World Club Challenge. But whether that'd just be interesting to see if he gets any delays or anything like that. Because obviously that's a big signing for them, innit? So yeah, like I say, something to probably watch out for and see how his recovery gets on.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to the next bit now. Grand final winning prediction. So who have you got lifting the trophy?
Laser Rhinos. And I kind of just alluded it today. I said if they finish outside the top 3, they went away. They've beaten Hull KR at Hull last year.
Yeah.
They beat them at home as well. I think they did the double over KR last year.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
We'll have to check on that and see if anyone comments on it, but I think they did double over KR last year.
Yeah. And obviously the Saints game were a one-off one.
Yeah, and for me, I just think they'll be there or thereabouts. It's a bit of a wild card. It's a bit of a rogue one, and I don't think many people will be throwing them to win it, to be honest. They've got a great pack. It gives them a good platform, and then they've got outside backs who can do the business. They've got Sevo to come back in. Obviously, he didn't play all last year.
Yeah.
So that's a fresh new signing for them. When they're trying to get out their own half, I mean, Ryan Hall's coming to end, but what a great replacement, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Lady's going after it, yeah.
And so for me, I've gone with that because obviously you've got the halves. They've got O'Connor, like you mentioned, and attracting NRL interest now.
Yeah.
He's really made that number 9 spot his own.
Yeah.
They've got Danny Levi, who's come in, international quality. We've had him at Giants.
Yeah,
He's like
tidy player, isn't it?
Yeah. So for me, Leeds lift it.
Yeah. I've got Wigan beating Pippin KR to the final. Yeah, I've just got them, and I do think KR. I mean, everybody said it last year. When are they going to run out of gas? When are they going to run out of gas? I do think this year they will run out of gas towards the end, and I think, like I alluded to earlier, I think Thompson, December, O'Neill. I think this year they will step up another gear. So I've just got them. I've got them pipping it this year, especially with it being a World Cup year, and there's a lot of England boys now, but I've got a point to prove, I think.
Waddle, I think, even.
Yeah.
Because I know they mentioned that I think he was injured in that series against Australia, but he had a couple of good touches in the first game. But for the last two, for me, not the player that we know.
No.
And, Sean Wayne isn't there anymore, which we'll touch on later. But a new coach, new ideas, he's going to have to prove his worth.
Yeah. At the moment, because there isn't a head coach in that position, I do think that everybody across all teams, if you're English, you're going, I don't know who's going to be second in there yet, so let me go out there and prove a point. And that is why I think I've got Wigan doing it, purely because I think they've got a lot of English lads. They've got a lot of lads that have been there, done it, won trophies now at Wigan as well.
They've got the X factors, aren't they? They've not lost French outfield, and at the end of the day, they struggled with injuries last year. And
I think last year plays a big part as well.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of players in that squad that'll be going, we've let ourselves down a bit here. Especially after the year before, where they've gone on and won 4 trophies. I think this last season, I think they'll be in a bit, we've let ourselves down a bit.
Well, it doesn't happen often where Wigan don't win anything, does it? So
yeah, any dark horses to get to the final, or?
Obviously, I said Leeds, but then my other outside bet would obviously and then I'm going to go and this to outside horse, like you say, Catalan.
Yeah.
Just because I think they've got winners in their team, and can they drag the rest of the team up with them? Might be too much of a task. I'm not sure, but as a surprise package, either them or Hull FC for me, you've gone into great detail why you think Hull. So
yeah,
if I had to give one, it'd be Catalan, but I think Hull.
Yeah, that's my pick, Hull FC. I just think if they can keep their forwards fit, their forward pack is absolutely stacked, and I think if they keep them fit, then their outside backs are going to have so much time on the ball, and I just think they could upset a few. I don't necessarily think. I think if they get to the grand final, I don't think they'll win it, especially because chances are they'll be up against either Wigan or KR, and I don't think they win it. But I think if they get, say, KR or Wigan in a semi-final, whether that's home or away, I do then think that they could go to KR and upset them. Okay, so moving on to Man of Steel now. Who we got down to that?
Bit of a French name that's always going to pop up. Just think if he stays injury free and can really change the game. I think the season he has depends on how well Wigan go and where they finish. Bevan French is definitely up there for me. And Toby Sexton, I think, is the other one.
Interesting to see how he gets on with it.
Yeah, I think just for him, it's a 1-year contract just to come over, show what he can do. The quality that he had at Canterbury, top of the league last year before he fell out of favour, that was really no problem to himself. It was more the fact that they wanted to get Lucky Galvin to tie him down for the future when the opportunity arose. So I feel like he's got a bit of something to prove. He's got that contract ready to go back to Perth, but I think he comes over, no pressure, 1 year, gives it his all, and I think he could guide Catalan to something good next year.
Yeah, as much as I'm not his biggest fan due to his antics off the ball, I've got Mikey Lewis on this. I'll give him his due. When he's on the ball, he's a game changer, he's a match winner, especially I think he stepped up last year. There were a lot of talk as the season was going along. is Mike Hillary going to be able to step up to the mark in grand finals? Is he going to be able to do it on the biggest stage? And I think he kind of stuck two fingers up to a lot of people, really. I think he stepped in and went, do you know what, watch me here, I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah, well, he's obviously signed a long-year contract to stay with him. And then again, he just came of age in that grand final, didn't he? Everyone said, you're not there in the big games, you go missing. He didn't go missing at Old Trafford, did he? So I can see why he put him up there 100%.
I think if he solves himself out off the ball, I think there'll be a lot of people that'll enjoy watching him play. I just think he lets himself down a bit, doesn't he? I think just gets involved in stuff that he doesn't need to, and then once somebody stands up to him, he's calling out forwards in, and I'll just slide it back.
Yeah, 100%. But that atmosphere there is really intimidating. You might just get like wound up in the moment. Do you know what I mean? It's really like we've been out there on a Friday night and we've been nilled and turned around on the motorway and come back. So.
Drive when you've been nilled, let's put it that way. So, and then young player, I've gone George Whitby on this one. I think the recruit with Hastings, which obviously he can play in the 13 spot as well, and they've got Sailor in the 6. I fancy Whitby to play big minutes this year. I think obviously Sailor's best games came when he won in the halves last year. Obviously, it looks like he's going to stay there again, and they're going to give him another crack at that. But I just fancy George Whitby to step up, really. And I think he's a special talent.
I think Rowley could have a big impact on him and how he plays.
100%. Especially, I think, obviously, especially when he was at Salford, you could see how much players improved by his coaching. Everybody that went to Salford came out of Salford a better player than when they went in. Now, there's no other club you can say that about.
No,
and that's got to be down to his coaching. There's no other way around it.
Yeah.
And I think he'll really enjoy coaching that sort of player. Obviously, Matt Shaw will want him to be at Halifax, no doubt, but I can't see that happening this year. I think he's going to be stepping up for the Saints.
Yeah, well, for me, I've gone with Presley Cassell, which might seem a bit of a cop-out. Well, wow, when he burst onto the scene last year, and he burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
Like,
give me the ball.
I will run hard. He is a proper old-fashioned forward he's just class, like absolute class. Like he is an England star to come. And then a second one, so I've gone with two just so I couldn't split. I'm doing what you do, I'm a bit of a fence sitter here, but I've gone with I've gone with Kai Taylor-Ray just because he's got the number 1 shirt at Warrington this year. Big season for him. There's a lot of faith got into him there. They've obviously moved Dusty on.
Yeah.
And I think he's electric. He's got some real speed. He's got some classy touches of the ball. So be interesting to see how it goes. And for me, definitely.
Yeah, they just put a lot of trust into him. I mean, fair play. That's what we want. Just to be doing young stars. Yeah,
they're training some good talent out there at Warrington. So the next few seasons, it'll be interesting to see what else comes through. But they've
very good. They managed to attract young players wherever. I mean, there's a lot of players like from Sybil. A lot of players have gone to Warrington there, which is crazy.
They've obviously just got a very, very good academy. They're obviously not just staying around the local area. They've ventured out and going, we want the best players, no matter where they play. If they're in Yorkshire, they'll come across. We've got the pull. And I think they'll reap the rewards of that in the coming years. And I think they really will.
Yeah. I think in 2-3 years' time, I think Warrington will be a completely different team to how they've been this last season and how I think they'll be this season. I think in 2-3 years' time, all these players that have come through, I think they'll be a different squad. Moving on to kind of best recruitment in the league now. So on this one, I've gone Catalan. Again, as I've alluded to earlier, I think going out and recruiting 2 halves and a 9 to completely change your spine pretty much. I think it shows that we're not standing still. We've had a poor year. We've let ourselves down. We'll go out. We'll get 2 halves and a 9 that have all got experience in NRL. Lee's got a point to prove. Cruz Leeman, he's been there and done it now, especially with Wigan, and he's got that NRL experience. And then Sexton's coming over and going, right, I've got a year. Let's see what I can do. Yeah.
I'd agree with that. I just add in Hull FC. I think they've both done good business, but where Hull FC have done it for me is it's a continuation from last year's recruitment.
Yeah.
So they've not stood still. They've gone out. They've got Bachelor, Bell, Lasone. I mean, the players that they've got, St. Helens players, you've got someone coming in from Leeds, Harvey Hill coming in from Wigan. They've just followed up a really, really good year from last year with recruitment.
Yeah.
And Richie Myler's done a great job last year in turning them round. I didn't think they'd turn them round.
He's turned that club round massively.
Done very quickly as well. It'd be interesting to see how they go next year. Like obviously, I know you've backed them to do well. It'd be interesting to see if it comes to fruition. I think it can, to be honest. But I think they're up there for definitely winning the market in terms of the players they've gone out and got.
Perfect. Right, so that covers that. I think kind of a little bit of a segment now covering the World Cup in England. Obviously, Sean Wayne's left. Bit of a weird time to go with the World Cup on the horizon and no friendlies or no training games scheduled, anything like that. So we're obviously looking for a new coach. Whether it's going to be a one-off or kind of a full-time appointment, we don't quite know yet. But kind of who are you thinking?
First of all, just covering Wayne a little bit, I think he'd run out of ideas, to be honest with you. You have 3 tests that we had against Australia. I mean, one we scored next to no tries. How many times you can get into an opposition 20 and try the same thing over and over and over again and not really score is just disappointing. Well, they were lackluster. I think it's bad timing in terms of changing the coach. And you'd say, well, the new coach ain't going to got a chance to play with them players.
But we're never going to win World Cup, Sean Wayne.
But if you're telling me that, well, yeah, Wayne's going to pick players that he's worked with before, but they're not up to standard. I mean, Bateman, disappointing season. It could go on. The people, George Williams, again.
Massively disappointing season.
They didn't. Warrington were rubbish last year.
We beat him twice. No way.
So, do you know what I mean? It's like, it just didn't work for me. So, the fact it's changing, yeah, positive, happy with that. For me, Willie Peters, both be great candidates. I want someone who's not necessarily in a full-time Super League coaching role, whether that be Brad Arthur if he's leaving Leeds but wants to take us to the World Cup. I just don't want a club coach to have them connections and ties with the players. I want it to be someone neutral. James Graham, for an example. Going in with someone, but I just want someone like Matt Peat, fantastic. I think he'd get us playing on the front foot. You need to be off the cuff. You need to have the flair. Matt Peat lets his flair players play. Yeah. Devon French, Jayfield, etc., etc. They get to play. However, I just feel like don't have that club tie. I don't want that club tie. I don't want people saying, well, Pete's picking him because he plays for his team. And Pete coming out and saying, well, he does it for me week in, week out. If there's a player at Hull KR who's doing it better, for example. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
A prime example of that would be, I'm picking Brad O'Neill because he's played for me in big games. However, Jez Layton has just one man of steel, for example. We don't want that. What I want on that play is the best England 23, 24-man squad, whatever it is that fly out there. I want it to be number 1 to 24, the people who've done it on merit and not because they've got credit in the man. Do you know what I mean?
And if you aren't going and winning man of steel, you probably should be on the plane. Not even getting in the squad.
Yeah. So that's what I'd throw out there for me.
Yeah, I've gone Brad Arthur. I've just got a sneaky feeling that going to finish at Leeds at the end of this year, and I think he'll take England into the World Cup in Australia. I think I like what it's about. I think he's shown that, especially with Jake Connor. And at the end of the day, last time round at Huddersfield, it was disappointing. Like, I don't think he lived up to what we kind of expected. Whether that was him or whether that was the coaching, you don't quite know. But the fact that he's then gone to Leeds and gone on one man of steel straight away, and he literally does change games. He does change games.
Yeah, I think as well for me, he did light up the league, so it'd be interesting to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that covers this week's podcast. We'd like to thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to show some support for the pod.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers.
And see you next time.